What if the person who saves your life is also the exact same person breaking your heart every single day? Look at them. Seyran and Ferit. SeyFer. We watched them scream, betray each other, lie, run away, and tear down two entire families, and yet, millions of us are completely incapable of looking away. Is this actually love, or are we all just hypnotized by the most beautiful, toxic disaster on television? Before you answer that, let me show you something about their dynamic that almost everyone missed. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. If you have spent any time on the internet lately, you know that Yalı Çapkını and specifically the whirlwind romance between Seyran and Ferit has absolute control over our emotions. Whether you root for them every single week or you are ready to throw your remote through the screen, there is no denying that SeyFer is a cultural phenomenon. But today, we are doing something different. We are not just recapping plot points you already know by heart. We are diving deep into the psychology, the trauma bonding, the unscripted chemistry, and the subtle narrative turns that make Seyran and Ferit so agonizingly addictive. Right now, I want you to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and leave a comment telling me your honest opinion. Are Seyran and Ferit meant to be together forever, or would they both be healthier moving on completely? Let me know, because I read every single comment. To understand why SeyFer works so effectively on screen, we have to go back to where the magic and the nightmare first began. Remember the original setup? Ferit Koran is a golden boy billionaire, utterly spoiled on the surface, running away from responsibility, and hiding his internal panic behind reckless decisions and a playful smile. Then we have Seyran, a fiercely intelligent, resilient girl who spent her life surviving a strict, oppressive household under her father Kazım. When fate and a chaotic arranged marriage forced these two worlds together, it logically should have been an instant failure. Mechanically and emotionally, they were oil and water. Ferit needed freedom without consequences, while Seyran needed control over her own life and safety. The result was instant, explosive friction. But here is where the narrative brilliance lies. Right from their first interactions, their masks began to slip. Ferit, who always used humor as a shield, could not manipulate Seyran the way he did everyone else in his life. Seyran, who built thick emotional walls to survive her father, could not predict Ferit's absolute unpredictability. They did not just clash. They unsettled each other. Ferit saw a girl who would not bow to the powerful Koran name, and Seyran saw a boy who was desperately trying to act like a man. That mutual fascination was not love at first, but rather raw curiosity wrapped in defiance. Now let us break down the psychological glue holding SeyFer together. Why are millions of viewers across the globe so emotionally invested in a dynamic that feels so stressful? It comes down to a classic psychological loop driven by trauma bonding and intermittent reinforcement. Neither Ferit nor Seyran chose the Koran mansion. That estate is not just a home. It is a gilded pressure cooker filled with hidden secrets, continuous surveillance, and constant manipulation. Seyran and Ferit are the only two people in that entire household who truly understand what it feels like to be trapped inside it. Every time they reach a moment of genuine peace, whether it is a quiet conversation on the balcony or a shared smile, the world around them throws a brand new crisis at their feet. This creates an intense cycle where heartbreak is immediately followed by a massive emotional payoff. When they finally unite against their enemies, the emotional relief for the viewer is off the charts. If we examine Ferit's character growth, we see a boy driven by an overwhelming fear of abandonment disguised as a massive ego. When Seyran pushes him away, it activates his deepest insecurities. But when Seyran stands by him, Ferit transforms from a careless boy into someone willing to sacrifice everything he owns. On the flip side, Seyran spent her entire life being controlled by men who claimed to know what was best for her. Ferit, despite all his chaos, was often the first person who actually listened to her voice, even when he hated what she had to say. Think back to the iconic turning points that cemented SeyFer in modern television history. Consider the infamous airport scene. That was not just standard dramatic storytelling. It was a massive character crossroad. For the very first time, Ferit threw away his pride, his family status, and his personal safety because a world without Seyran simply made no sense to him anymore. Or look at the sheer intensity of the gunshot scene. The raw horror in Seyran's eyes as she realized that losing Ferit meant losing her entire heart proved that their connection had bypassed reason and entered pure emotional instinct. They fight like enemies because they love like desperate survivors. What makes their story so captivating is that neither of them is presented as a flawless saint. Seyran can be overly stubborn and defensive, pushing Ferit away when he needs her most. Ferit can be reckless, impulsive, and immature, falling back on toxic patterns when he feels cornered. Yet, every single time they burn their relationship to the ground, they rebuild it out of the ashes. That continuous cycle of destruction and rebirth keeps every single viewer hooked week after week. So where does SeyFer go from here? Can two people with so much shared pain ever build a peaceful life together, or is their love destined to burn everything around them down? That is the ultimate question that keeps us watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Seyran and Ferit's psychological dynamic, make sure to give this video a huge thumbs up, share it with your fellow Yalı Çapkını fans, and hit that subscribe button with notifications turned on so you never miss another analysis. Drop your favorite SeyFer moment in the comments below, and let us discuss it together. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the very next video. When we talk about SeyFer, we cannot just stop at the script on the page. We have to address the undeniable magic that happens when these characters come to life on screen. The chemistry between the lead actors is so electric, so incredibly raw, that it often blurs the line between fiction and reality for the audience. Notice how their nonverbal communication carries half the narrative weight. A subtle shift in Ferit's posture when Seyran enters the room, the way Seyran's defensive wall cracks for just a fraction of a second when she sees Ferit in physical or emotional pain, or those long quiet moments where neither of them says a single word, yet everything is understood. That level of acting performance is rare in modern television, and it transforms standard drama into an intimate emotional experience. Beyond their immediate connection, Seyran and Ferit represent two completely different responses to systemic family trauma. Seyran grew up under severe authority, learning early on that emotional vulnerability is dangerous. Her primary defense mechanism is self-reliance, strict control, and pushing people away before they get close enough to inflict pain. Ferit, on the other hand, grew up drowning in luxury but starving for authentic validation. His defense mechanism is deflection, humor, reckless behavior, and running toward chaos just to distract himself from his inner hollows. When these two opposing coping strategies collide, they inevitably trigger each other's deepest fears. Seyran feels overwhelmed by Ferit's unpredictability, while Ferit feels utterly abandoned whenever Seyran retreats behind her emotional armor. Consider also the role of secondary characters who act as external catalysts in their bond. Figures like Kazım, Hali's Aga, Pelin, or Kaya do not just create obstacles for the plot, they act as psychological mirrors reflecting the reality of Seyran and Ferit's relationship. Every time external forces try to separate them, it forces both Seyran and Ferit to confront what they truly mean to each other. They are constantly forced to make a high-stakes choice: do they fall back into their old safe habits, or do they risk their entire world to stand side by side? That relentless tension keeps the narrative engine running at peak efficiency. Furthermore, the visual storytelling plays a massive role in why viewers are so deeply attached. Pay close attention to how color tones, lighting, and musical scoring are used during key SeyFer interactions. Warm, golden lighting often surrounds them during their private late-night conversations in the mansion bedroom, contrasting sharply with the cold, sterile shadows of the grand hall downstairs. The musical score swells at precise emotional peaks, underscoring every heartbreak, betrayal, and victory. It creates an immersive atmosphere that grabs your attention and refuses to let go. This is precisely why SeyFer has expanded far beyond traditional drama boundaries, becoming a global phenomenon analyzed by fans around the world. People from entirely different cultures, speaking completely different languages, find themselves debating SeyFer's choices on social media late into the night. It is a true testament to the universal power of a passionate, complicated, deeply human love story. As their story continues to unfold, one thing remains crystal clear: Seyran and Ferit will keep breaking our hearts and piecing them back together, and we will be right here watching every single second of the journey.